Are we getting a Scream 7 time jump?
Hello, Sidney.
What is up, y'all? We are back with another video. What type of video? We got a Scream 7 video. Before we get into it, definitely smash the like button because it definitely helps. And make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Guys, we just hit 43,000 subscribers. I know we can do it. I just want to say thank you so much for that. That is truly amazing, guys. And thank you. But to get into this, over on X, coming from a trusted source when it comes to, Scream info and stuff like that, coming from Daniel RPK, we find out that we could potentially be getting a Scream 7 time jump with this film, and Nev Campbell playing Sidney and everything. This is crazy. So before we get into this, just remember, this is a rumor. This is strictly a rumor, and we're going to just speculate off of this rumor. And yeah, Daniel RPK is very trusted when it comes to Scream, but this is just a rumor, guys. To get into it, over on X, it says Scream 7 will have a big time jump to have Sid's kids play a role. Also, at least part of the movie will be set in a new town. This is a first chapter in a new planned trilogy. So we have heard that they're trying to do like a TV show and spinoffs and, more films after Scream 7. So it seemed to be that this is the kick up of a trilogy. Once again, this is a rumor. Now, that would be very amazing just off the fact we have Kevin Williamson in the director's chair and things like that. But to get into it, didn't I tell you guys in previous Scream 7 videos they're going to have to do this? Just because in Scream 5 we seen that Sidney Prescott was pushing a stroller with a younger kid in there. And then I want to say we found out also that she had a kid that was in school. She had to go pick the kids up from school or something like that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I want to say I remember her saying that in Scream 5. But pushing forward, either way, we're going to have that time jump to get the kids involved, just because, like I told y'all, I think that that's the route they're going to go, where the kids are front line, maybe going through something with Ghostface. The kids are being targeted by Ghostface and everything, just like maybe some type of abduction or held for ransom, and that's what's going to bring Sidney Prescott out of retirement, possibly. And I think that right there would just give a whole spin on the Scream franchise. This is something real and intense, and this is literally something different. And this Ghostface has to be batshit crazy, doing something with Sidney's children. So yeah, the Ghostface has to be different and more brutal. But pushing forward, they're saying it's going to be set in a new town. So I wonder if they're saying, okay, definitely Woodsboro. We're not going back to Woodsboro, because I want to say Sidney was in Seattle. Yeah, Sidney was in Seattle and everything, I want to say. So are they talking about Seattle, or are they talking about another town, being that it's somewhere else? And we know that Kirby Reed, is out there also. Maybe it's something where Kirby Reed is involved, and they're going, like, they were kind of jumping back and forth from town to town, like going back to Sidney, going back to Kirby. Maybe it's something where Mark Kincaid has to go out of town and do some work in the force at another precinct or something, and that's how he meets Kirby. Overall, this is very interesting, just off the fact that Sidney's kids is going to be front line in this Scream. Very dangerous when it comes to like things with kids involved. Like I said, we also heard other rumors about her address being leaked and everything. This all is starting to make sense, and a nanny being involved. And we talked about on Scary at Night this possibility where Mark Kincaid has other kids that he hasn't told Sidney about, like he has a past life, and these kids, come and maybe they cross paths with Sidney's kids, or they try to do something with Sidney because Mark Kincaid's kids are actually Ghostface. Kind of connecting with that Roman, theory and everything, how he was siblings with Sidney Prescott and everything. Maybe Mark Kincaid has another child out there that's jealous that Sidney took him away and things like that. I think that would be crazy. Or, like I said, something with Sidney's kids just being involved. Maybe Ghostface, he starts off actually going after one of Sidney's children just to get her out of retirement. And maybe this happens. You know how Sidney's in like out the way, she's off the radar or whatever. Maybe him being Ghostface, or she, whoever plays Ghostface, is trying to find Sidney out there where she is, and it's so hard to find her, but they end up crossing paths with someone who knows Sidney's children, or involved that's involved with Sydney's children. Maybe she even has, a tight wrap on her kids, when it comes to like just privacy. And maybe the nanny actually ends up being the one who reveals where Sydney kids go to school or something like that. I can see that happening, or the nanny gets followed. Either way, I think it's going to be something where it's someone outside of Sydney's family that gets her in trouble. That's going to get her location revealed, just like that Roman. It just makes sense. And to push forward, I can't wait to see which age range they're going to go for with Sydney's kids. They never revealed like an age or nothing. We just saw that stroller with her jogging in Scream 5, and, Dewey calls her and everything. We just kind of had to eyeball that. But I keep saying this, Madeline McGraw will be a great age. Those two just cast as Sydney's kids somehow, just being involved as, the children of Sydney will be crazy. We definitely need, some actors that can play Sydney's kids. They kind of adapt to that energy, that are great actors. And I immediately just think about performance in Megan. I think she fits perfect, and she kind of got a little resemblance to Sidney Prescott, Nev Campbell. So that could definitely work. And just this whole story sounds amazing. Once again, just speculation, but with Mark Kincaid, Gail, what if Kirby Reed comes back? And now they're talking about a time jump involved with Sidney Prescott and her children. And it has to happen. It's almost similar to like the Halloween ends, just for things can get a break. So one thing I will say with this Scream 7 time jump, what it's going to do is it's going to have us possibly have a chance to get, some flashbacks, maybe showing how Gail was after the incident when Ghostface and what she did, and maybe showing some stuff with Sidney or what happened in that time jump. I definitely think every time you get a time jump, it's somehow, some way we get something that happened in the past, or some type of flashback, or even if it's a conversation with some dialogue being brought up. So definitely going to be interesting to see what happens along that vine of all the events and everything in the recovery with Gail and Mark Kincaid and things like that. Even though these characters are not confirmed yet, I'm pretty sure they're going to be confirmed just because it makes sense. But I just want to know, how long would this time jump be? Is it going to be 2 years? Or, 2 years doesn't even make sense, but like 5 years. It has to obviously be something where they can be a little older. So like 4 years, 5 years, maybe even more than that. I don't know, to make this all make sense and generate correctly. But I know one thing. This is going to definitely be a different Sidney Prescott with her kids involved. This is going to be like a Sidney we've never seen before if they write her right. Especially with Kevin Williamson in the director's chair, I got a lot of faith that this is going to be a Sidney that's ready to like not risk it all, but like just crash out. Especially if she gets a call with her kids involved with Ghostface, it makes sense. So obviously, this Ghostface must be some type of fan or some legacy behind it, something connected to Stu Macher. I don't know. Something that's going to have to get the final girl out of her seat to come back and be involved with a Ghostface. Maybe it's Leslie Mocker. Who knows? Maybe just a new Ghostface that's just not playing games and wants to be involved. Maybe it's someone that just wants to be the one to take out the final girl. And so many, doors that they can go in with this, and the way they can do it, especially, even having her husband, Mark Kincaid, being the one that gets followed. Like I said, maybe he comes home from work from, the precinct, he works in the force, they follow him, and now they know this is this whole thing with Ghostface, and he's tracking Sidney through other people, the nanny, her children, Gail, so many people. Overall, how do you guys feel? Do you think that's a great way to kind of get Sidney pulled into the story through her children, or do you think that's too dark? I think, to be honest, that makes stuff a lot more real. It makes things a lot more real. And it says a new town. Say if they're not doing that route with Seattle and everything, like what if it's so bad to the point it gets so dark and gnarly and stuff when it comes to Scream and this whole plot, that they make it to the point that Sidney cannot even deal with it, that she has to jump ship and go to a new town with her family because Ghostface is giving her calls. Ghostface is talking about arriving up to her child's school after school, taking pictures and sending them to her, similar to like how it was in Thanksgiving, just kind of telling her like, I'm around. So rather than fight it, maybe at the first part of, the plot and everything, and in the first act, Sidney tries to jump ship and goes into protective custody, and that's how a new town is brought in, and maybe some new characters because she's not familiar with this area. So maybe she gets to meet these new characters that are being rumored out, in the Scream community that's going to be in Scream 7. You know, that makes sense. Say if she leaves the town for protective, you know, custody, or just to protect her family, maybe Mark, being in the force, decides to make that move for his family. Like, come over here, get off the radar. Stuff is getting bad. They're aiming for our children. And that's how we get into that new town. And maybe that's how we get introduced to Kirby Reed if she returns back. That would be crazy, man. So overall, guys, comment down below what you all think about everything we just talked about. And do you think that this time jump is going to make Scream 7 like a lot crazier? Are you even a fan of this rumor with the time jump? Do you think it's going to be cool to see Sidney Prescott's kids? Like, what type of Ghostface are you looking forward to? Or anything? Like, what do you just think overall with Scream 7? And do you think that this is a good theory that we're talking about right now? Comment down below. Unfortunately, this is the end of the video. I want y'all to hit me up on my social medias at ILIKESCARY on Instagram, ILIKESCARY_ on TikTok, Brandon on Facebook, ILIKESCARY on Twitter, and yeah, you all, right there where it says subscribe, next to it, click join to become a member of the channel. I want you all to watch some horror movies. Stay scary out there. Peace. Until next time, y'all.